All right, I apologize for the echo. I will do my best to deal with it. Also, I apologize. I am losing my voice, so I'm going to move the mic as close to me as possible. If you guys are having difficulty, I can try to maybe move the mic closer or up the gain, but this is about as much as I'm going to be able to speak. So, In Time is a left-leaning channel. A lot of atheists and anti-theists are on the show. I guess the most important thing to discuss now is that we are becoming a theist channel. I have converted to Catholicism. My wife went into a Catholic church 3 days ago and said that the noise was too loud in the house. She wanted to do anything to just quiet the house down and said she would believe in God. I am losing my voice. So I'm now Catholic. Just letting everyone know. All right. I do think some brevity is going to be important tonight, and stick around for the end of the show because we're going to do something we haven't done in a while. But nonetheless, please don't mistake some brevity for this being a light situation. Unfortunately, it's very difficult, I think, all around. So I think we'll start with some breaking news. Just make this quick in Tennessee. Let's see. Hold on one second. Because, of course, now I'm getting 20 different alerts. But in Tennessee, there was a shooting at a school. It was... Yeah, okay. There was a shooting, a school shooting. To the best of our knowledge right now, there is only 2 people who are victims. One is a police officer who was shot but is expected to make a full recovery and was conscious and talking when he was taken to the hospital. In fact, he said that he'd rather he got shot than anyone else. He had confronted the suspect, and the other one appears to be the suspect who is dead. So Tennessee has closed the schools in that area for at least 2 days, and so we're going to keep an eye on that. I don't expect anything more on that, but that literally just started breaking about 2 hours ago. So I figured I'd let you guys all know. The next big thing is what we covered last night, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that because we've learned a lot more. Nothing's really changed, but we've gotten some more details. So we're going to cover that. We're going to cover another story too. The arrest of I think he was an Army combat medic that went unfortunately very south. He's actually perfectly fine, which is good. But it's okay, one thing at a time. So as we discussed last night. Hold on, Daunte Wright was a young black male. He was in Minnesota, which is, of course, where the Lloyd. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm getting we are actually, there we go. Okay, we are going to fix that. That's going to make life a lot easier. So we are going to be moving Overtime to a new channel. It's going to be its own stuff, just because there are a lot of people who like both Overtime and In Time, and that's great. We really appreciate that, but there's some people really sitting there going, I just want the news. I don't want the culture stuff and the interviews. And there are other people who just want the interviews, and they're like, well, what the hell is Nick doing with this news stuff? So we're going to split the channel so you can subscribe to both. You can subscribe to one if one interests you over the other. We do have some really cool stuff coming up on In Time. We've got Richardson, Randolph Richardson's going to be coming back later this week. We're also going to have on the whole crew from TART. We're going to have Dr. Richard Carrier back, and we're going to have Neil 604 Atheist back, all over the next 2 weeks. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. If that's what you're interested in, stick on this channel. Otherwise, we're going to be dropping throughout this broadcast links to Overtime and where we're going to start broadcasting that. Right now we're broadcasting simultaneously to both channels, and I was getting notifications for both. I had turned on the notifications, and then it's just as soon as anybody said anything in the live chat, one notification for each channel came up. It was a little distracting, so that's taken care of. So Daunte Wright was a young black man in Minnesota. He was driving. He was pulled over ostensibly because he had air fresheners, which his mother had given him. He had them dangling off the rear view mirror. Now, this is a problem because in Minnesota, it is illegal to have anything that obstructs the view between the driver and the windshield. Now, this law apparently is not often enforced, and this is considered to be a stop that was perhaps he was a black man, and they just were fabricating a reason to. That's at least one theory. At any rate, he was pulled over. He was on the phone with it. He called up his mother. He got out of the car, and we now have the body cam footage, which we're going to show in a minute. And apparently what happened was he did try to, it looked like they were attempting to cuff him. He had an outstanding warrant. He decided to jump back into the car and was trying to escape. Multiple officers were restraining him. One officer fired, hit him. It appears killed him almost instantly. The car traveled a couple of blocks, crashed into another car. His girlfriend was in the back, called the mother, and tried to update her, and then she was eventually taken, the girlfriend, to the hospital. So we've learned a bit more about what happened and what we understand now. And we talked yesterday about one of the things that was going to be probably a very big detail was going to be, why was there only one shot fired? Why only one shot? It suggests that the other officers were not prepared to fire. Usually if an officer fires, they all fire because they assume that there's a gun somewhere, and even if they don't have cause, they usually follow through. Why was there no follow through? What we're learning now is it appears like the officer was reaching for her taser and was going to tase him, and instead actually pulled out her service pistol and shot him in the chest. So I will say there's been a lot on social media about this, and most of it very disturbing. There are absolutely, and we've discussed this before, there's no question that there are cases of officers overreaching. We're going to show another, what I consider to be rather serious case that also happened a few days ago that we're going to discuss, of officers shooting unarmed suspects. The George Floyd case, I think, is obviously one. The jury is, it actually looks like the defense is going to, not the defense, the prosecution is resting today, in fact, is what it looks like, in that they were sort of wrapping up a couple hours ago. People are saying this is a slam dunk. Well, that's what they said about Rodney King, so I think we're going to have to pay very close attention to what happens going forward. But at a minimum, we all know this kind of thing happens. But in this particular case, it was I guess she was a 25-year veteran, so you would not expect her to make that kind of mistake. You're also going to hear an officer who's going to tell you that they always have the pistol on the arm, that I think they have it on your main arm, and the taser on your off arm, and that's the same for every officer. So if you're right-handed, your pistol is going to be on your right, your taser is going to be on your left. It's always been this way, so she should have known, and it's very hard to understand how or why. But there have been people who've been sitting there saying, well, this, the reality is, based on all the things that we're looking at, I think it's very hard to reach any other conclusion than this was a tragic accident. There have been some people who've said this is why you shouldn't have female police officers. Yes, that is actually going around on social media. You'd expect this kind of trolling to some extent, but the reality is, and they've also said they need more training. Cops may or may not need more training. I don't know. I'm not really qualified to opine on that. I don't see this as necessarily evidence for that, and I will tell you why. Doctors, medical doctors, surgeons are among the most trained human beings on the planet. Maybe not as well trained as NASA, but they're pretty up there. And they leave sponges in patients. They operate on the wrong patient. They take off the wrong patient, the patient's wrong limb. There's a patient with one kidney failing, one good kidney. They have to pull out the bad kidney, pull out the good one instead, and kill the patient because the patient doesn't live long enough to get a transplant. This happens with male doctors, believe it or not. It happens with doctors who've been doing this for a long time. And I will tell you this, there is a point of not only diminishing returns, but where the more procedures you have in place to avoid this kind of thing, the more likely you actually make it. The reason is because people get overloaded on the procedures and they just start going through the motions, and we've all been there. So this strikes me as a very human event and a very human mistake. And it's unfortunate that what can often be just not a... She was panicked. So this is what it looks like, and I'm pretty convinced that this is what it was. She was panicked, and she was trying to assist her fellow officers, and the evidence strikes me as being completely, quite overwhelming, that she honestly thought she had her taser. This is both because she warned people she was about to tase the suspect, and afterwards she seemed genuinely panicked when she realized it was not her taser. And for those who say, well, how could you not tell the difference? I don't know. I've looked at both the weapons, and it seems to me personally holding it, I'd probably have a hard time telling the difference between the two in a panic situation. But again, I'm not trying to speak for all instances, but in this case, and again, one shot, and I honestly have no idea what motive there could possibly be for her to have done this on purpose. And so it seems like a horrible accident. What we're going to do now is we're going to show the video. We have shown videos on this channel more than once of somebody being killed. That's what this video is. But if that's going to trouble you for any reason, I think you should probably just either mute or bail on the show for probably only about 3 or 4 minutes, even less than that. But this is the full footage of what happened on the arrest from the the officer who fired. This is her body cam. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to put that up in place there. And again, I apologize, I am losing my voice, so we're going to, all right. So I'm going to make sure the audio is up, and I think it is, so let's see here what happened. All right, you may not have been able to hear that audio. It was very low, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to boost the audio on this really quickly. And I think I'm going to play that again. Sorry, I'm going to have to play it twice here, but the audio there was really virtually inaudible, so we're going to boost the gain here. But what you can hear clearly is she shouts, "Taser, taser, taser." She does this for 2 reasons. They're trained to do this right before they deploy a taser. A, it's to warn the officers to let go so that they don't get shocked as well. It is also to warn the suspect so that it's basically his last chance. You're about to get tased. Why don't you stop whatever it is you're doing? And she shouts that, and she sounds genuinely, to me at least, shocked and surprised and alarmed that she has actually fired or discharged 1 round. So, having said that, let's let me see if I can clear that up. All right, we have boosted the audio here, so we're going to play that one more time. And, oh, that's the wrong... All right, let's play this one more time, and we're going to let it play fully through this time, which includes the chief of police discussing the situation.
Oh, wow.
Yes!
Can you turn the lights back on, please? As you can hear, the officer, while struggling with Mr. Wright, shouts, "Taser, taser," several times. That is part of the officer's training prior to deploying a taser, which is a less lethal device. That is done to make her partners aware, as well as the subject, that a taser deployment will be imminent. During this encounter, however, the officer drew their handgun instead of their taser. For informational purposes.
All right, and that's actually the end of the video. But what he goes on to say is how they try to distinguish and make sure that this kind of thing does not happen. However, as hard as they try, and again, as hard as they try to get doctors to not remove the wrong leg or the wrong arm or whatever, it happens. And we can sort of always reduce these kinds of things, but we have thus far been incapable of stopping it. And things rapidly, I mean, from the moment that he tried to run to the moment that she decided she was going to try to tase him, and she did actually say, she said, I'll tase you, and then and she's got it out, and then she's just like, okay, taser, 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 and then fires. There's been a lot of people who seem to think that that's not credible, but it strikes me as being, unfortunately, very human and just the kind of thing that happens. She has been put on leave at this point. I'll say again what I said last time, and I'm a little hesitant to say this because we can't blame the victim here, but it is another thing where it's just sort of, in general, even when officers are doing something really fucking illegal, which is rare, but they do, deal with it later. Dealing with it when they're armed and you're not, or which is a bad scenario, or where you're armed and they're armed and you're armed, which is even worse. It's not, and especially if officers have a full head of steam, best to I don't know, it's fight or flight. I don't know where he thought he was going to go. They were going to find him. There was a warrant, but at any rate, that appears to be it. So I'm going to quickly check the live chat and see if anybody has any questions. There has been, last night there was a number of riots. There was tear gas and flares deployed in an attempt to quell a number of these riots. We've got, this was actually just outside where this happened as they were starting shortly after the incident. And then what we have here is, I think you're actually here. I don't think you're going to see, yeah, you can see some deployments of tear gas, and it wasn't as widespread as first reported, but there definitely was some. We're obviously going to be keeping an eye out to see what happens tonight. My hope is that cooler heads prevail. Again, I think really this was an extraordinarily tragic accident. The officer, that I can tell, had absolutely no reason to do this and seemed genuinely surprised when she realized that she had fired a live round. So, my hope is, especially again, this is exactly where the George Floyd trials are happening, and if George Floyd, if the officer is found not guilty, I am deeply concerned about what's going to happen across the country. I remember the Rodney King riots. Rodney King was a black man who had been beaten badly by police officers, and 4 officers in Los Angeles. Los Angeles being, especially back then, even now, but especially back then, notorious for police abuse and racism. And it was all 4 officers were found not guilty, and it led to a large number of riots for, as I recall, about 4 days. And it was just, I think we're going to see something a lot worse than that if they're found not guilty. Now, that's not a reason to convict or not convict the officer, but just as a point of concern. So, all right, having said that, I think actually this is one more video of No, it was. I mean, I'm curious if anybody in the live chat, or if you want to leave a comment in the comments section, and I will get to them. If anyone has a comment disagreeing, please let us know either in the live chat or in the comments section down below. But I don't think I find no reason that this officer would have done it deliberately. She knows she's going to be in the spotlight, and she's 25 years, and to the best of my knowledge, her record is reasonably clean. I know it seems unlikely, but again, we've all done really stupid crap. And this escalated very quickly. And it's clear she was following all the procedures for a taser. And sometimes, I'm brought to another thing, which is every now and then, and this happens especially with elderly, but it happens with young people and happens at every age, where somebody sees a pedestrian suddenly coming out in front of their car and they hit the gas as hard as they can and run right into that pedestrian. Well, the reason is because their brain processes the fact that there's a pedestrian and they have to hit the brake. And for whatever reason, the firing of the signal to hit your foot down as hard as possible, both that signal and the signal for your foot to move from the gas to the brake, trigger almost instantaneously. But just based on neural pathways and how it works, your foot gets the signal to slam down hard just a microsecond before it gets the signal to switch. So your foot locks onto the gas and you drive right into the pedestrian. This happens when I say all the time, I mean across the country, you hear about this happening. It's happened. It happens every year. Completely innocent person just drives right into somebody. Again, it happens more often when you're older for obvious reasons. But so this strikes me as very credible. Again, if you disagree, I'd like to see it, at least in the live chat now or in the comments below, and we'll talk about it. So my hope is, again, that there isn't any serious rioting. I think for people who have a lot of pent-up anger, that's going to be hard to do. But, and I can't imagine how this officer feels. It looks like it's being handled with transparency, and absolutely every indication, both before and after the event, suggests it was just one hell of a fucked up accident. And they're not as uncommon as you think. So, having said that, let's move on to sort of our second thing we're going to cover tonight is, so actually what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring this up. We're just going to need a second to switch it over. So this is Second Lieutenant Karan Nazario, who was pulled over. The cops lit him up. He was on a dark road. He decided, he's a black man, he decided he did not want to be pulled over along a dark road, so he decided to go to the nearest gas station, which was about, I forget exactly how far away, but nonetheless, it was about 1 minute and 45 seconds between when he first was, the lights got hit and when he pulled over. One of the officers decided that this was a suspicious activity in and of itself, and because his windows were tinted, decided to treat this as a dangerous situation, and things escalated from there. And so let's see the footage on this. Oh, no, okay, this is the, I think I queued this up, I'm not sure I played this. Okay, this was a deployment of the gas last night. Yeah, this is from last night, so there was definitely rioting going on, and we're gonna keep an eye on it for tonight. We may move a lot of this discussion just to our Discord, because we'll have to see how my voice goes. Like I said, we got 4 shows. We've got Randolph Richardson, we've got Tart, and Carrier. So we'll try to save my voice, but we'll see what happens tonight. So this is Army medic. And what I'd like to do actually is, actually, I think this is from, so what I want to do is I'm going to wind this back. Seems to me okay. No, I don't think, okay, this is the footage. Right, he is now suing the police department, but that is actually not, what I'd like to do is, I get the footage from before, so this is, here's once again we're having a bit of an audio issue, so I'm going to up the gain. Maybe it may jump rapidly, so just. All right, well, no, we appear to have no audio on this. I don't know why. Let me take it.
Procedure 23 in Operation CVS.
Temple.
Speeds are 18. Vehicles changing lanes. Approaching Church Street intersection.
Temple.
Traffic stop at BP.
Temple, you heard it.
Falling back.
Felony traffic stop.
Put your hands out the window!
Felony traffic stop, 1836.
Put your hands out the window! Turn the vehicle off! Put your hands out the window!
How many occupants?
All units 1013, 804, 803, felony stop. 18 Windsor, 1 East
Put your
Windsor.
hands out the window and turn the vehicle off! Put your hands out the window!
Come around your side.
See your hands! How many occupants in the vehicle? How many
All right, what I'm going to do now is one of the things that he did was he had a cell phone on him and he activated that cell phone as, let's see. So we have a split view here of what's happening both from his perspective. Oh, was that actually, that may have been what was playing. I apologize if I interrupted that. Well, that was what was playing. So what we're going to show now is the split view. No, that wasn't. So here's the split view of what was recorded by his cell phone and by the body cam on one of the officers. And the audio is still. For some reason, the audio does not want to come in here, so I'm going to give this one more shot on the audio. This is oh, it's not even displaying that it has audio. Oh, that's because, okay. So what I will bet you I can do here. Okay, so we don't have audio on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play both videos. We'll steal the audio from one, and so they won't be completely synced up, but we'll steal the audio from one as we play the video of the other.
All units.
See your hands! How many occupants in the vehicle? How many occupants are in your vehicle? Open the door slowly and step out. Open the door.
Keep your hands outside the window. Keep your hands outside the window. Get out of the car now.
I'm serving this country and this is how I'm treated.
Yo, well, guess what? I'm a veteran too. I learned to obey. Get out of the car.
What's going on?
Get out of the car now.
What's going on?
What's going on is you're fixing to ride the lightning, son.
I'm sorry.
Get out of the car now. Get out of the car now. Get out of the car.
Sir, just get out the car. Work with us and we'll talk to you. Get out the car.
You received an order. Obey it.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I?
Yeah, you should be. Get out.
What's
Get out.
going on? Get out the car.
Get out
I
now.
have not committed any crime.
You're being stopped for a traffic violation. You're not cooperating at this point right now. You're under arrest
For a
for.
traffic-
You're being detained. Okay, you're being detained for obstruction of justice.
Traffic violation. I do not have to get out the vehicle. You haven't even told
Really?
me why I'm being stopped.
Really?
Get your
Get
hands.
out. Get out of the car now. Get out of the car.
Get your hands off me.
Get out of the-
Get your hands off me.
You know what?
Get your hands off me.
Not a
Get your
problem.
hands off me.
Back up,
I
Daniel.
didn't do anything. Don't do that.
Sir, get out of the car now.
Hey, sir.
Get out of the car now.
Sir, I'm trying to talk
Get out.
to you.
Okay.
I'm trying to
I'm gonna
talk.
talk.
Get out.
Just get out of my car.
Can you please
Get out.
relax? Can
Get
you
out.
Please relax.
Get out of the car right now.
This
Now.
is not how you treat a vet. I'm actively serving this country, and this is how you're gonna treat me.
Back up, Daniel.
I didn't do anything.
Back up.
Whoa, hold on.
Daniel.
What's going? Hold on. You watch it.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car now.
That's fucked up. That's fucked.
Get out of the car now.
Sir, just get out the car.
I'm trying to breathe.
Get out of the car now.
Fucked up. That's really fucked up.
Yeah, get out of the car and get on the ground now. You're gonna get it again.
I don't even want to reach for my seatbelt.
Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car.
Can you please?
Get out of the car now. Listen, take off your seatbelt and get out of the car.
Look, I'm just gonna please.
You're gonna do what you're told. Get out of the car. Take your seatbelt off and get out of the.
Look.
Take your seatbelt off.
Look, my hands are out.
Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car.
My hands are out.
Don't reach in there, Daniel. Don't reach in there.
My hands are out. Please. Please. Look. This is really messed up. My dog is in the back. My dog is choking right
Get
now.
out of the car. Take your seatbelt off. What are you, a specialist, corporal? What are you?
I'm a lieutenant.
Lieutenant, get out of the car. Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car. You made this way more difficult than it had to be if you just complied. Get out of the car.
I'm reaching for my seatbelt.
Fine. Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car. Straight onto the ground. Straight onto the ground.
Ma'am.
Is your commanding officer available?
Down. Let's go.
Is your commanding
Let's
officer
go.
available?
Get on the ground. Get on the
Can you
ground.
please talk to
Get
me
on the
about
ground
what's going
now.
on?
Get on the ground or you're getting sprayed again. Get on the ground.
Can you please talk to me about what's
Get on
going
the ground.
on?
Get on the ground now.
Can you please talk to me
Get on
about
the
what's
ground.
going on? Can you please talk to me about what's
Yes, sir.
going on?
You're not.
Can you please talk to me about what's going on? Why am I being treated like this?
Because you're
Why?
not cooperating. Get on the ground.
Why am I being treated like this?
All right, we're going to keep the video running because there's a few things there that you also are probably going to want to see, what I'm going to describe. So this is actually the first half of what happened, and there's a number of things here that's actually really important. And Dorito mentioned this because he picked up on this. Quick change from you're being arrested to you're being detained, which are two very different things. The officers at this point actually cannot arrest him. And one of the things that comes up later is they don't have anything to arrest him on. And, you know, he said, you're being arrested, and then he downgrades that to you're being detained. Now, they can detain him. And when you're being detained, it is, in fact, illegal to not follow a lawful order from a police officer. So there's been some confusion, but unless there's a specific state law that I'm unaware of, he actually was breaking the law by not following a lawful request. Having said that, that does not permit them to do any of the things that they've done in this video. And what actually ended up happening was you're going to notice a few things. First of all, they pepper sprayed him without giving him any warning. So they didn't say you're going to get pepper sprayed. They didn't say anything like that. Second of all, he appeared somewhat confused at one point. One of the reasons he had an issue is because he had both his hands in the air, and at one point he was said to unbuckle to get out, and he reaches to go unbuckle, and as soon as he does, the other officer says, "Show me both your hands, both your hands." So he has to put his hand back up, because if he doesn't put his hands up, he's going to get shot. But if he doesn't reach one hand down to unbuckle, he also might get shot. So he's got a bit of a problem here. And things unfortunately did continue to escalate. Now you can see that one of the officers grabs him here, and what the officer wrote in his report was that when he tried to get him out of the vehicle, he actually struck the officer. And this is what both officers put in their report as having had happened. It did not happen. It's a lie. The officer who you see here, who's instigating most of this, has in fact been fired. There were a number of things that he put in his report which, according to the body cam, simply are not true. And the man does have a right. He has a right, when being detained, to ask why he is being detained and to be told why he is being detained, which did not happen here. So, yeah. Slaughterhouse 5 was, Slaughterhouse 5 was, Vonnegut, Porpoise, but, the Heller novel was Catch-22, which is, yeah, roughly the same thing. So, he is now pepper sprayed. You can hear the officers choking, so it was enough that the officers are choking. The dog is choking. So after this, we see sort of the second part here. Now, actually, let's see. This is, just want to get a handle on. So he gets out, and I believe we have audio here.
Can you please talk to me about what's
Yes,
going
sir.
on?
You're not.
Can you please talk to me about what's going on? Why am I being treated like this? Why?
Because you're not cooperating. Get on the ground.
An Army lieutenant in Windsor, Virginia was pulled over, pepper sprayed, and arrested with zero explanation. If you want to stay up to date on viral stories like these, go ahead and hit that subscribe.
All right, hold on one second. Sorry, I think that okay, we didn't have the rest of the video once he was on the ground, but once he was on the ground, he became very distraught. He was asking to see a commanding officer. That was denied. Eventually, they asked him. They said, "Listen, why didn't you pull over? Why'd you go for 2 or 3 minutes?" Which he didn't do. He went for 1 minute 45 seconds, which admittedly still you're supposed to pull right over. But the concerns for why he didn't want to pull over immediately make a lot of sense, at least to me. So let's see now. The officers are now going to be speaking with him after the incident. This is actually seems very nice, seems very pleasant, and seems gracious and sort of accommodating. When you understand what's going on, it's actually really, in my view, anything but. Let's play this now. And once again, there's an audio issue with this clip, so let me see if I can... It should be playing, so let's give it a second to catch up here on the audio.
What would have been a 2-minute traffic stop.
There we go.
It has to be in the license plate bracket. I understand it's paper and I understand why it's there.
So he had been pulled over ostensibly because he did not have a license plate on the car, which is in fact true. He also had tinted windows, so they became very suspicious. What they failed to notice was that because this was a new car, when you have a new car, you don't immediately have license plates. You put up a temporary license plate, and in many states, including this one, you can put it up just on a piece of cardboard in the back window, which is in fact what he had, but the officers missed it.
Yes, but at that time I didn't know that you had a vehicle registration until I approached your car. And at that point, I was too busy dealing with you to deal with the tag. You want me to wipe your eyes? Okay. So, look, all this was going to be was, hey man, I stopped you, you didn't have a tag, you got your driver's license, I'd have ran you, and you'd have been on your way, okay? What would have been a 2-minute traffic stop turned into all this.
As I was telling him, you know, I've pulled over to well-lit areas before, and I've never looked out the window and saw guns blazing immediately.
So the reason we did that is because we followed you for 1.5 miles with lights and sirens on, and you didn't pull over. I understand you want to get to a well-lit area, a well-lit area. I get that, but when we follow you that long, look at the climate this day, and against everybody, against us, against y'all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not out to hurt you, and I know you don't want to hurt me. That's not what it's about. What it's about is making sure that everybody goes home at the end of the day. So when you don't stop and you continue to proceed, our suspicions are raised. What's going on in the car? What don't he want us to see? So you pull into here, and if you would have just complied with the simple commands that we were giving you originally, it would have been done and over with. And you would have got back on your car and you'd be gone by now. But you wouldn't get out the car. You wouldn't comply.
It just looking out the mirror and seeing your guns out already. That's what I was asking, like, what's going on? I was just...
And not to mention you have...
Just confused.
I know you weren't reaching, but not to mention you had a gun at your right leg. You get our perspective, though, on the safety issue for us as well? You get that?
Yeah, I do. And that's why I put my hands out and I was asking, what?
And when you put your hands out, they were like this outside the window. How do we know nothing's in your hands? And I was telling you, stick your hands out, stick your hands out, stick your hands out. Then I was having you step out. You wouldn't do any of it. You following what I'm saying? Okay? So this can go one or two ways, okay? I don't want to hem you up. I'm going to be straight up with you. You're a good man. You've made lieutenant in the Army. How hard was that? That wasn't an easy task, was it?
No, it wasn't.
And what would this do to your career?
It would hurt it. And I'm in the middle of getting promoted right now anyway.
All right, we're going to stop here for a couple of quick things. First of all, we're about to bring you some footage. So it looks like there are now protests in D.C. For, and I think I'd call him Daunte Wright. So we're going to bring you some footage of that. But I guess it's, quote, what democracy looks like. D.C. protests, it's trending. And they are happening in D.C. right now. So we're going to drop in on that in a second. But what I want to bring your attention to with this, which is really important, again, this is all, hey, you're a good guy. And we know that now. And we're all, and what I'd taken originally when they said, you know, that the environment that's out here, I struck that as he was talking more about a perception issue. Now he's worried about how he's going to be perceived. But what's happening here right now is they're like, okay, they're emphasizing to him that he doesn't want to make this a big deal and that it's all his fault, all of it, his fault. But they will look the other way because they like him and because he's worked hard. And one of the things that they wrote in their report is that because he's in the military, he's actually subject to double jeopardy. He can be prosecuted twice. It's not exactly double jeopardy because one is by the a military tribunal, and the other one is, and he can go to a military prison, and then the other one is, of course, by the civilian government. But he actually is subject to double jeopardy. So they're like, listen, we don't want you to get in trouble for all this, and you've got a great career. So why don't you keep your mouth shut? Now, the way I read this, and I think when we continue, it's, again, if I'm wrong, either put it in the live chat or in the comments below. But what we start to see here is two police officers who falsified their reports about precisely what happened, including that he had assaulted them. Nobody's complaining about that right now. In fact, they're all saying he's done really nothing wrong other than just not complying as quickly as not complying, really, which he should have done. But they should have also explained what the problem was. And it seems to me that while they're accusing him of escalating, they're the ones that escalated this. And there were many opportunities to de-escalate this, even though he was not. You know what? Sometimes people don't do as they're told. People don't like being told what to do. There were ways to de-escalate this. And again, he was pepper sprayed without warning. So keep in mind that the two officers that are going to be engaging here later falsified their reports as to what happened. They said that he had assaulted them. They said that they did warn him about the pepper spray. And a few other things. I have a list. I'll look it up of things that they said that was simply not true. And I think, what was it they had also said about him getting out of the car? I've forgotten. But, and like I said, the first officer has been fired. But let's listen to this, keeping in mind that at this point it looks like these officers are aware that what they've done is not defensible. But I don't think they're scared about it, because it feels like this is kind of the standard routine. They are now working on getting him to shut up and not talk to anybody. Again, that's my take. Let's finish it.
So, yeah.
To what, captain or first lieutenant?
To first lieutenant.
Okay. So, and then when we get you out of the car, we have to wrestle with you on the ground just to get your hands behind your back, just to put you in cuffs, just for the safety matter. You follow where we're at? I mean, what would you do if you came across that overseas, you know? If you were infantry and you came across that. You follow me? You see where we're coming from? I'm trying to work with you as much as I can. I would have never wanted, like I said, it would have been a simple, you know, hey, I see your tag now, you know, make sure you get it displayed in the proper spot, and you'd have been moving on with your day, and I'd have been moving on with mine. But here we are.
How's your eyes doing, Lieutenant?
Better.
And I keep calling you Lieutenant. I told you I'm a veteran. I respect rank. Okay, I was a corporal in the Marine Corps. I respect rank. However, I do have a job to do. Okay, I just talked about Chief of Police. You asked for a superior. He's off, obviously, right now. Saturday. I called him. He came out, talked. Here's how that's what I was thinking. I told him what I wanted to do. He said, that's no problem. Two ways we can handle this. We can either sit here with you until you get your eyes back where you can see, and I mean at a good distance, you're safe to drive, okay? And you're going down the road. Go do your deployment. Go continue serving my country, which I respect and I thank you for, okay? Or we can push the issue, write you tickets for no license plate displayed, and for obstruction of justice. I don't think we need to go that route, because that route makes the Army get involved, and I know how they are. You don't know this. The Army, he'll vouch for it, because he's been in and he's got friends that are legal officers. I know. The military is the only place where the military is the only place where double jeopardy exists legally. Because whatever we do to him, the Army can turn around and jam him for the same thing. I don't want to see that happen. You're obviously a second lieutenant. You ain't been in very long. If you plan on making a career, or even 6 years or whatever, it's up to you. I don't care. There's no need getting this on your record. I don't want it on your record. However, it's entirely up to you. If you want to fight it and argue, I mean, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, okay? I mean, you have that right as a citizen. If that's what you want, we'll charge you, have you go to court, notify the command, do all that, or we can take time out of our night, which is not a problem. We're being paid to take care of people, okay? We'll sit here with you, get your eyes back. You and, what's your dog's name?
Smoke.
Smoke? It's a badass name for a badass dog. You and Smoke can get on down the road, okay? It's entirely up to you. What do you want to do? I ain't got no problem. I'll sit here with you till you get your eyes back and send you on down the road, okay? I don't want to charge you. I will. It's my job. I don't want to. The chief's giving me discretion on how to handle it. He's like, these are the two choices. I said, that's what I was thinking. That's what I want to do. He's like, not a problem. We can either let it go, help him out, get his eyes back, and get him on down the road so the Army doesn't get involved, or we can charge you, and then it's a big hassle for you. It doesn't change my life one way or the way, because, you see what I'm saying? It's not about me.
In my view, this is a threat, and the reason I see it that way is because it's veiled. It's actually very well veiled. But, you know, the way you look at it is like, wow, I'm being given two choices here. One choice is to go free despite all the terrible things I've done, or to, you know, stay here and be arrested. What does he have to do for this? Well, really, it hasn't been said, but all he has to do is keep his mouth shut. They don't want to arrest him, so they're like, just keep your mouth shut. Don't say anything, and we can let you go. Now, this has been reviewed, because this actually happened 3 days ago, and at present, to the best of my knowledge, every review of it, including from the superior officer, is that they actually did not have any grounds to arrest him. They could not have arrested him if they wanted to. So, and he did actually have, it appears the tags were properly displayed for a new vehicle, because they were in the back window taped up. So, yes, that police officer has been defunded. That is correct.
It's about you, what you want to do. If you want to just chill, let this go, and no charges filed, we'll take the handcuffs off, we'll get you a bottle of water you can drink on, and sit.
Why would anyone not want that? Why would anyone not want to just let this go? So what does the officer want in exchange? Why is the officer making it a choice? Why doesn't the officer just say, hey, we got nothing. You're a good guy. Go. The officer wants something. He hasn't said it explicitly, but he wants something. This is a deal. What does he expect in return?
Sit here until you feel comfortable driving. All right? Or the other option is we write the summons, discharge you, and by then we have no choice. We have to notify your command. Again, I don't have to be an ass. I don't have to be threatening. I say that because that's just the way it is. Okay? I just talked to my boss. Those are the two choices that he gave me. Personally, as a veteran who served, okay, I did 6 years in this war. My wife's a retired sailor. She retired as a EA out of the Navy. Okay? I don't want to see you get jammed up by the Army. Okay? I don't want to see it happen. If you need to spit, just let us know. Go ahead and spit. Because we've both been sprayed, so we know what it's like. It sucks. If you need to spit, go ahead and spit. You're not going to offend us.
Okay.
All right. What do you want to do, Lieutenant? I'll let you tell me, because
I mean, nobody's gonna ask for charges, so I'm not gonna ask for that.
I understand that. However, I have to make that option available to you, right? I mean, I have to. So here's what I want to do. Especially as calm as you've been since everything ended, I want to take the handcuffs off, let you sit here with smoke. We'll sit here and wait with you. Let your eyes come back. Okay, because it takes anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes, depending on how much actually got in the eyeball itself, before you can really see well how to drive, especially at night. Okay, we'll sit here with you, and then we'll get you on down the road. And the command won't know nothing about it. All right.
I do have a good rapport with my command, so I wouldn't feel right not talking to them about it. So
that's entirely on you. I'll put it this way then for you. They're going to hear from you. They will not hear from us. I'll give you that much respect, okay? Because I understand. I told you I was in for 6 years. It's always better for the command to hear it first from you than somebody else, especially with law enforcement. That's never a good thing. Go ahead and unhook him. I want to talk to you a little bit. Again, I get it, okay? I get the climate we're in right now. I get it, okay? The climate we're in, what the media is spewing with the race relations between minorities and law enforcement, I get it, okay? So like I told you, as far as you not stopping and because you weren't comfortable and you wanted a well-lit spot, Lieutenant, that happens all the time. It happens to me a lot. And it's I would say 80% of the time, not always, 80% of the time, it's a minority. And I totally get it.
All right. So, yeah, that's, like I said, it sounds, if you don't know the context, that sounds awfully nice. And those officers seem like sweethearts. But when you realize what they actually put in their reports, and when you realize what really happened, it's pretty atrocious. So I think what we're looking at, and just to compare and contrast, is two very different incidents. I'm going to state unequivocally that I stand by the fact that I think in the Wright shooting, it was a terrible accident, and there's almost certainly going to be consequences for the police officer. How and what, I don't know, and I think there's still more to learn. But all of the evidence, and there's a good deal of it, points to a really tragic accident that happens reasonably. That kind of thing. First of all, it happens where officers reach for a taser and they pull out a pistol. That's happened before. But the kind of thing of doing a mistake like that happens every day in this country, in every state in the union, in every country in the world. It's this, on the other hand, is a different issue. So I think we're going to follow them. I did fail to mention, too, that Major League Baseball, National Basketball Association, and National Hockey League have called off games in Minneapolis, just outside of Minneapolis, as a result of the Daunte Wright shooting, which is actually, as of I think an hour ago, has now been declared a homicide. And I want to be clear about that in a second, but the medical examiner has ruled the manner of death a homicide. Now, that doesn't actually even mean necessarily that a crime was committed. When a medical medical examiner has only a few choices that they can list: accidental, suicide. Let's see, I think there's 4 usually: accidental, suicide, natural causes, and homicide, which just means one human being killing another. It does not necessarily mean murder when a medical examiner puts it, but what Wright died as a result of being killed by another human being, and all right, it is what it is. So I think that's where we are, and it does look like, so we also know now that the Brooklyn Center city manager has been fired. Mayor Mike Elliott has come out and said that the police officer who shot Daunte Wright should be immediately fired. And the Brooklyn City Center manager disagreed with that and was himself fired for publicly disagreeing with that assessment. So, and we currently have protests in D.C. over that. Let's see, I think I had promised you guys footage of that, so let me get that up right now. No, I'll get you the, or I may have already played the DC footage. No, I don't think I did, so let me, this is DC, actually, as of about an hour ago. What we have is protesters with the hashtag DC protests and hashtag Daunte Wright. And they are marching in DC. And we're going to play that for you now. That is DC about an hour ago. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We're going to keep an eye on everything else. My hope is it's not going to be a long night, but it wouldn't be the first. Because I obviously am having some difficulty speaking, unless it gets really big, which it may. We probably won't do anything live, but we do follow this on the Discord. We follow it usually quite closely. We have a news update section that is always, thanks to really the help of a lot of people who are just keeping an eye on the news from all over the world, who drop stuff in there as it happens. We're very up to date and very often well ahead of what you're going to find in network news. So come and join us on the Discord. Chat about what's going on. Give us your opinion. You can put your opinions in the comments below too. Like I said, I think we're going to be moving overtime off to its own channel, just so that the people who aren't interested in that particular content can stay on in time, and the people who are interested in that content can also see it there. If you're interested, we're not going to do it right away. We're going to do it slowly, and we're trying to build up some subs there, especially before we move, and let everybody have their notifications and get things sorted out. So it's going to be a couple of weeks, but right now we're streaming to both. We used to do something that we haven't done in a while, and I think it's because so much news to keep up with. We had a hard time with it. You can't always do a thing like this. But we used to try to have a really insane story, and oftentimes it would be accused of making them up because they were so insane. No, they're real. They're absolutely real. But just something to round off, especially somewhat of a harder broadcast, and this is harder in particular because of how Mr. Wright died. So we were brought one today by Bregwin, who has always been just great with. She probably by herself represents between 30 and 45 or even 50% of the news that we get in. She's on top of it and just does a spectacular job and is very supportive, which I personally appreciate. And since there's a lot of people on the show, I will speak for, I think, everybody here when I say we all appreciate it. But she brought us this one, and this is an interesting one. Earlier today, and I think it was Dallas, Texas, and this story is interesting for two reasons, and Bregwin only knows one of them, actually. Earlier today, and no, I got that in the wrong spot. There we are. Dallas, Texas. This happened. That is money, and it is flying around the air. And what makes this interesting is nobody knows how it got there. It's just flying around. Money falling from the sky in Dallas, Texas earlier today, about, what is it now? So I would think it's actually be about 6 hours ago. 6 hours ago. Now, that may seem like a publicity stunt. And you may be sitting there going, no, somebody's throwing it out. It's got to be coming from somewhere. But nobody's, to the best of my knowledge, yet still nobody's figured it out. But what makes this story truly remarkable is this is the second time it's happened in Dallas, Texas. The first time was in 2016, when mostly singles, a few fives, 20s, and even hundreds were flying around Dallas, Texas, and nobody could figure out the source. And it was this. They found the source eventually. Bags of money on top of a skyscraper. What made this skyscraper? Well, it wasn't a skyscraper. It was a tall building. What made it unique was that earlier that, actually I think it was the night before, somebody had gone into the basement level and robbed a Chipotle, which had just received a whole bunch of cash earlier that day. Thieves got away. Cash hadn't been recovered until somebody saw this. And this is something similar to this, because this would have been now 5-6 years ago. And it turned out that the thieves had put the bags of money on the roof and failed to secure the bags. And when the stiff wind came the next day, that happened. So, Bregwin, congratulations. This has now happened twice in Dallas, Texas. And to the best of my knowledge as of yet, nobody knows where this money is coming from. I think somebody had said, there were two interesting comments. Somebody had said something about who cares? It's obviously God, or it's our faith, and this is what we get for living in Texas. I said, well, I do think God does need to compensate them something for living in Texas. So if this is his way of doing it, kudos. The other thing was, of course, and this happened last time because I was trying to learn more about this story when I bumped into the 2016 incident, and police have been deployed in the 2016 incident, and quite rapidly, in fact, and for this one today. Police were deployed, and my favorite comment, first comment on the entire thread. Why are they deploying the police? What do they expect them to do? Shoot the money? All right. We're going to keep an eye on what's been going on. Like I said, you can join us on the Discord and keep up with things. My assumption is, I think now at this point, there's good evidence that there's going to be at least some protest. If it started in D.C., it's going to happen in, sorry, my brain's fizzing out a little bit, but it's going to happen in Minneapolis. It's going to happen, I think we're going to get some. So, but unless there's something truly astonishing, we'll keep it to the Discord. And if something extremely unusual comes up, we will let you know. We'll come back, we'll broadcast again, and you'll get to hear the dulcet tones of me as I'm trying to hold 1 second, please. Oh, all right. That's where, so there was a point of failure there. All right. We'll get that sorted. So Let me just, I want to check out one other thing. There we go. We're good. All right. So thank you all for joining us. I hope this was informative. And like I said, we'll be on the Discord. I'll probably be on the Discord. I won't be chatting much, but I'll certainly be typing a lot. And thank you to all the mods, everybody who's helped out, everyone who's contributed to all of this and will really keep us running. So thank you all very much. My name is Nicholas Lamar Soutter. We'll see you guys later.